Hello and welcome to, well, a cast, and once it's not actually tournament coverage. And also probably from a caster you don't recognize. So, first off, who am I? I am going by TheBigC currently in the community, and I am, well, a bit of a newer caster on the scene. Have only been doing it since October last year. And yes, I was graciously approached by Rory with the offer of doing a cast for the FAF channel, and well, here I am. I assume a link to my channel will be in the description or something, so if you are interested in that, maybe go check it out. But anyway, let's get into the game. The replay I have for you today is a custom 5v5 played on the Noxus map generator. And let's start it and let's introduce the players. We have team 2 up in... no, it's team 1 up in the north. Yeah, took a moment to actually recognize the colors properly for me. And... wait, yeah, no, it is team 2 down the south, team 1 up in the north. Yeah, no, I think I just had a few issues with actually getting the contrast right and properly recognizing colors. But let's start with the easternmost player on team 1. Going Cypern and opening first land, we have Peppers in, well, piss yellow. Not a very flattering color, I guess. Anyway, to the northwest of that, in brown, going Aeon, opening first land, we have Chet. Then to the west of that, in burgundy red, going UEF, opening first land, we have Kabanoff. To the south of that, we have Freddy Fresh, going Aeon, opening first land, in red. And last player of the northern team, to the east, no, not to the east, to the west of that, in pink. And opening first land, going UEF, we have Belfron. Now, to the southern team, let's start with the westernmost player here. In this regal purple, going UEF, opening first land, we have Han Solo. Then, to the east of that, in this, well, dark grey, greenish color, we have iMac War on You, going Cypern, opening first land. To the east of that, in orange, also going Cypern and also opening first land, we have Mursto. Then, to the north of that, we have Squealer in hot pink, going Cypern as well and opening first land. A lot of Cyperns on the southern team. And last but not least, to the east of that, in the for the southern team, we have Catula Knoob in dark blue and going Cypern as well, opening first land. Right, that's player introductions out of the way. Let's take a short look at the map. As already said, it's Noxus map gen. We are on a 20 kilometer by 20 kilometer base. We are zoomed in a bit, so I assume this is 15k. Let's check reclaim. We are looking at, well, 69,000 reclaim on the entire map. Nice. But looking at the amount that has already been reclaimed, it looks like it started out at 70k. We have a bunch of plateaus and stuff around. Well, not sure if you can really call them plateaus. They are definitely raised terrain, but they are accessible via foot or pathable. But as Mapgen tends to do, you have the reclaim mostly centered around the cliff edges and the changes in elevation, with a few larger rocks also around the sides right here. Right. Now that that's out of the way, it's a great with a great timing. We actually already have a bomber out from iMac War on You. That is currently flying north. By the looks of it, it seems to be going after the base of Belfron. We also have an air scout out for Kabanoff, so that is probably scouted now. I assume northern team might be aware of that coming in now. However, currently no interceptors to shoot that down. Let's see, where's the bomber going? I would guess after the NGs right here with that approach. And we have 2 engineers in that area. And yes, 1 engineer gets away. But 1 still gets picked up by the bomber. Turns around, I suppose to go after the engineer right here. But interceptor now coming out from Kabanoff. And by the looks of it also already tagged onto the bomber. It does get its second pass off, so the second engineer does go down, but so does the bomber. Now, we do get a bunch of transports. Transport right here out from Balfron, dropping off a few NGs right on the western edge, building up some PD, some AA, and by the looks of it also the Maxes and some factories. And in the middle, Kavanaugh also airdropped a few engineers in, building a radar and immediately starting work on a bunch of land factories. Grabbing that map control very, very quickly with that. Now, ACU for Peppers on the eastern side, pushing out a bit more aggressively. Getting those maxes right here. Which, well, are the mirror position to the maxes dropped by Balfron. So, Northern team currently slightly ahead on map control with that. And we do also see some harassing forces of Moles and Hunters coming out from Peppers right here in the east. The first one did get picked up by the ACU, but the second one, a bit further east, going around the edge right here, is probably going to pick up one engineer. Or is it? It's not actually. It ran past the engineer. Well, that's unfortunate. An upgrade already started for Squealer, and another transport coming out. Just getting more engines around, getting all of that reclaim. That juicy mess. And Kavanaugh now also building some additional spam factories near closer to the front with the ACU. Though this one right here, looking at the queue currently, will just be building engineers for more reclaim. Considering the amount of reclaim on the map, that's however not too surprising, since that is going to be a lot of eco that can be built up with that very fast. Well, generally, a lot of stuff that can be built up with that very fast due to the just generally large amounts. Now, reclaim engineer right here, picked up by a small force of Squealer that is now running into the first mass-produced units of Kavanaugh. And by the looks of it, Kavanaugh is going to lose this small, well, engage. Wouldn't call it a proper fight, as this was just a rather small skirmish. Yeah, I think skirmish would be the right term for this. An upgrade for Squealer currently paused, I suppose just not that they just don't have the E to actually support that upgrade. We do see a T2 upgrade coming out for Peppers, so I expect this position to just be toted up with a bunch of PD. No aggressive utilization of the commander, just digging in and holding on to the slight advantage in map control gained with this. A gun upgrade also started for Balfron. T2 underway for Han Solo, though currently paused. Same goes, well, I was supposed to say that the same goes for the upgrade for Balfron, but that has just been continued. Now, ACU right here on the, well, on the eastern edge of the middle for Freddy Fresh, pushing out a bit against the spam of Cthulhu Noob, doing some skirmishing and claiming a max, forcing that army, that dark blue army, back. On note of Cthulhu, they have now also started getting a gun upgrade of their own, so everyone in general currently going for a bunch of upgrades. While things currently do seem a bit slow, let's maybe take a short look at the tech progression. We do see T2 land out for Cthulhu, T2 air out for Musto, T2 land out for I Make War on You, currently only T1 land out for Squealer, I think, yep. And by the looks of it, currently also only T1 land out for Han Solo. Now, on the northern team, we have T2 land already finished for Balfron, on the way to T3. Then T2 finished for Kavanaugh as well. Currently still getting up a bunch of engineers, not immediately going for the T3 upgrade. And let's look south first. Difficulty sucking right now for some reason. Freddy Fresh currently with a with a T2 land HQ as well, getting up their pigeons. Then we do have T2 air out for chat to the northeast of that. And let's check last player. Never mind, there is T2 land out for Peppers as well. Now, gun upgrade also started for Kamenov. Gun by looks of it finished for Belfry, immediately going for Nano, almost finished on that. And seems like I was correct with the development on this side, just a bunch of PD Cerberus turrets being built up by Peppers. Now also with a bunch of flag. That will be an issue for any T1 spam, however. As we already realized a bit earlier, there is T2 production out for Cthulhu, so we can expect maybe some greater production of tactical missile launchers that will just demolish the space. Though there is currently also a run by which does seem to get, well, not run by a large assault, that does seem to be getting in quite well. But the army of Peppers as well as the PD seems quite effective in taking it out, with Peppers only losing one of the Cerberus turrets right here as defense, of these, at least for the static defenses. It does look like Squealer in the meantime is pushing out with the ACU, getting in some spam behind to just, well, prevent being outflanked by the forces of Freddy Fresh, and just keeping the area open. Nano upgrade going up for Kamenov, and almost finished on that. Already with the gun upgrade finished, that will be a massive advantage for Kamenov, as that ACU will just have more HP and more regen with that. But with the army of Kamenov currently also already causing very problematic for Squealer, I would expect that ACU to, well, it's definitely going to cause a lot of units for Squealer. And they are also taking a lot of fire on that ACU. Already down into the yellow. Though their units were able to push into the flank, take out a bunch of bad stuff. But with the ACU of Kamenov in the area, I don't think that will last. If we look to the west of that, Han Solo now being overwhelmed by the forces of Belfron, also with gun upgrade and nano. Han Solo only with T2 and being and completely outspammed, and that is not looking too great. Bunch of maxes right here, currently upgrading to T2, almost finished on that. And those would be very painful to lose. Okay, they all make it to T2 at least. But Han Solo currently forced to fall back due to a lack of spam. Compared to, well, their opponent Belfron, who has a much greater number, and is now bringing in a bunch of T1 bombers to harass that ACU as well. We do see a larger counter push now out from Freddy Fresh after the after Squealer was pushed back by the forces of Kamenov. And that seems to have gotten quite a bit of value, taking out quite a bit of stuff. Well, plenty of maxes. I count 5 right now in this general area. And once again, T1 bombers being utilized to harass ACUs and units. Freddy Fresh with a gun speed upgrade already finished, now starting gun range as well. The special thing about the Aeon gun upgrade being that it is split around on the 2 arms as 2 separate upgrades. Well, technically 3, as there is also a advanced range, which increased range even further. But Freddy currently, by the looks of it, very much content just with the normal gun range. Or gun range upgrade. Now Kamenov, by the looks of it, overextended slightly, forced to fall back. Due to, well, not being backed up by the forces of Freddy Fresh. But with that nano upgrade, that AC will probably be back up to full HP very quickly. And Squealer now running out of units once again, with reinforcements coming in, and also the aforementioned army of Freddy Fresh now also moving in to support. With more T1 bombers also in the area to harass. But that forces Squealer to fall back even further. Now taking fire, a bunch of fire from these Auroras. But they do have a bunch of Rhinos out as well that might at least be able to force some stuff back. And, well, while I was paying attention to that, I completely missed that, well, Han Solo was pushed, I guess, walked down by Belfron. Due to the, I guess, yeah, I suppose it was just the late consequences of the backing spam I mentioned earlier. However, there are now loyalists moving in for I Make Warn You, who also inherited the base of Han Solo. That are, well, causing a bit of a posing a bit of a threat for the ACU of Belfron. Not too much, but enough to make them reconsider their push for a second, as they are slowing down their aggression now and pulling that ACU back. And let's see, anything else going on? Well, the eastern side continues to be rather static, with the defensive line built up by Peppers. In the meantime, looks like Belfron now, instead of going after the base right here, instead, well, never mind, going back up to the front with the ACU and a bunch more pillars now, a bunch more T2. And there are now a few singular loyalists still coming in, but they do need to build up a significant force before they push in. Otherwise they can just easily be picked off and overcharged by the ACU. Just saw that in the nick of time, that Squealer just, well, was taken out by the gun ACU of Freddy Fresh and the accompanying army. It looked like it was maybe a Phobos shell that provided the last hit. That ACU now also with the advanced gun range. But I guess that is now 2 ACU kills I missed. Because, of course, I paid attention to the wrong stuff at the wrong time, and thus I missed the important stuff, as it tends to be. And, well, with that, Southern team now down 2 players already, turning this into a 3v5 situation. If we now look to the east, Peppers forced back a bit, or well, currently probably going to be evicted from that firebase that they built up earlier by the combined ACU push of Murstel and Cthulhu. Both with gun upgrades, Cthulhu also with a nano upgrade, and with a significant force of T2 also in play for Cthulhu. Meaning that there is currently not much that Peppers will be able to do against that now, I suppose. Especially now that most of the T2 BD has been taken out, and T1 BD can just be outranged by the gun ACU. It's not a great situation to be in, and if I see that correctly, yep, Cthulhu now also on T3 land. Finishing off a bouncer first, but I assume that we will have bricks on the front very soon as well with that. Either bricks or the loyalist. Well, but looks of it, both. As both are walking up. But the BD has now been taken out for the most part, only with some T1 BD that currently cannot reach. In play for Peppers. And the ACU is now just firing down onto the, well, onto the remains of that firebase. Including a T3 factory that is currently trying to build up some trebuchets. I don't think trebuchets are really the play to go for here, but on the other hand, it's not going to finish either way, so whatever. And well, that factory lasted longer than I expected, but there it goes. In the meantime, there are now more forces coming out from I Make Warn You. I think, yep, there are now also Titans on the field, not just the Loyalist. The UEF counterpart to the Loyalist, if you basically, as both are more of a lighter raiding unit. Very fast, rather high rate of fire, but but not as tanky as the other T3 units, or the T3 main battle units of the other factions. And we also have a rather sizable force of Loyalists now collecting in the middle, maybe preparing another push. push right here does continue, and we on the east in the meantime. And there are now also bricks coming in for peppers. But I just saw, yeah, there are loyalists, and now also of course the bricks of Cthulhu in play as well. Meaning that this is, well, tech-wise it's a balanced situation, but spam-wise it is definitely currently in favor of blue. And 1 second please. Right, sorry about that, I was just interrupted, someone just came in, but I will continue anyway. Now, where was I? Before I was so rudely interrupted. Cthulhu continuing that push. Right, I was pointing out that there is currently a massive spam advantage for peppers compared to Cthulhu. Now, the force I mentioned earlier right here in the middle for I Make War on You, changing the topic for a second, has pushed through, taking out the production base of Kabanov, as there was no sufficient T3 counter in the area at that time to stop that. And that means that, well, Kabanov's capabilities of actually producing land are now severely reduced compared to their opponent, though Balfron still in possession of most of their production, I think. And now also with a serious contingent of T3 of their own, now also featuring a bunch of possibles. The, well, heavier main battle unit for the UEF. A bunch more a lot tankier than the Titan, but with a low rate of fire, however, a much higher alpha strike as well. The trade-offs are that it is a lot slower and a lot more expensive. More of a truly more of a frontline unit than a raiding run-by unit. Bunch of stuff tangling right here on the eastern edge of the middle as well. The remaining loyals of I Make War on You with the spam of Freddy Fresh, which is currently still at T2. And if we go back down here, we do see a light skirmish, maybe a proper attack now forming for Balfron against the units of I Make War on You. Though the large amounts of T3, primarily Titans in the area, for I Make War on You should make it a lot harder for Balfron to actually push through, and that also seems to be the realization that Balfron comes to as well, pulling back, now getting into the counter push of I Make War on You, which, just due to superior numbers and also some Percivals, as well as a bunch of bricks in the area as well, probably going to be in favor of I Make War on You. And I think all of the T3, well, no, not all of the T3, but most of the T3 now down for Balfron, so that is definitely correct. Leaving a nice and juicy reclaim field right here to reclaim for I Make War on You. Tula currently falling back a bit with the SU. Just holding onto the position that they've just taken with their spam. And map control actually, well, I wouldn't say switching now in favor of the Southern team, but being a lot more favorable for the Southern team, no longer as big of a map control advantage for the North as it was a bit earlier this game. Now, right, we do have a bunch of flapjacks in here firing missiles into the spam, but special ability of the Loyalist is that it has a missile redirect, which you can see right here, with the missile, with missiles flying too close to the Loyalists just being redirected back onto the position they were fired from. And I think that actually dealt heavy damage to the flapjack right here as well. Right, the T3 is now starting a rather significant push against the lines of Balfron that were established quite early on with that early engineer drop. Taking out a bunch of DPD and also taking out the maxes that were taken. Something that I almost missed right here on the side, but I should probably address while it's still here. A small tactical missile base out for Balfron. just with a bunch of, well, 2 Alohas and a stealth field generator, so it's not spotted. One of them actually got 2k mass code, quite nice. The other one also above 2k, never mind, yeah, both actually getting quite a bit of value. So that's nice to see, and they are currently still continuing to fire. Just taking out a bunch of maxes. I assume this one went down to that, and probably those 2 here as well. And here we just have a bunch of NGs currently, by the looks of it, capturing a T2 max. That's very interesting, but there is already spam moving in to take those items out. That will probably not succeed. Now, push for IMAC1U, going back to that. It does continue, it broke through the, as suspected, through the line right here, taking everything out. Actually penetrating quite nicely into the, well, not really backlines, but into the area that was controlled by Belfron. Bunch of T1 bombers quickly spammed up by Chat to try and defend, but there is flag in the area, meaning that those are quickly annihilated. Same goes for the T2 gunships that were tried, that I think Karpanov tried to send into hell, without much success. But the army of IMAC1U basically ran out of steam, so they have made the decision to pull back with that for the time being. Especially against the new force of Belfron that has built up while defending against IMAC1U's push. And what you look at that, if we go back to the east, Ketulak currently upgrading the laser upgrade on the ACU. A very powerful upgrade for the Cybran, getting the microwave laser technology of the Cybran onto the ACU. The same weapon that is found on the Monkey Lord, which, well, would you look at that, we have a Monkey Lord up north for Peppers, pushing into that. That laser is 50% finished, and it is very expensive, so it would be very painful to cancel now. Just with 42 seconds left, or around 40 seconds left. That reading is not quite accurate due to some fluctuations in power production. I assume those are overflow related. And I assume it's power and not mass, though we can just take a short look at that. And never mind, it's actually mass related. Let's slow down. But we have a Monkey Lord right here. And as an experimental, that will easily take out an ACU, even if it does have the laser upgrade, just due to, well, having a bunch more HP. Monkey Lord with 45,000 HP, the laser ACU just with around 20k. And as it is the same weapon, the DPS are also basically even, as far as I'm aware. So Ketulak should be a lot more careful with this. The Sponsoon guns on the Monkey Lord now starting upfire onto the spam forces of Ketulak that are desperately trying to defend. Laser did finish on the ACU, and Ketulak deciding to push in against the Monkey Lord. There are of course a lot of bricks now firing into that, and the first target is just the supporting spam army. Now going onto the Monkey Lord, but taking a lot of fire, and that ACU is losing HP at a rapid rate, and there it goes. As already pointed out, probably not the smartest move to go up against a Monkey Lord with that, but it was at least enough to take that Monkey Lord out. So at least something. Still, I don't think that that was a worthwhile trade, considering the fact that a Monkey Lord can be rebuilt, an ACU cannot. Well, Sekos can be rebuilt, but, well, if the ACU dies, the player is out of the game thus. This now also means that the Saffron team is down 3 players, turning this from a 3v5 into a even worse situation with a 2v5, giving the Saffron team a even bigger disadvantage when it comes to player count and thus also, well, APM, which is very, very important. Though, by the looks of it, IMAC1U currently not struggling with that too much, taking out the default position right here that once belonged to Gabanov, continuing to push, causing damage to the not to the ACU, to a bunch of Percivals, and by the looks of it also very soon a bunch of economy right here with 2 T2 maxes. A experimental just finished for Freddy. I assume that that is a Galactic Colossus, AGC, and there it is. Yes, it is. Now, that push does continue. We also have, I almost missed it, a small run-by up here on the northeastern side. Also out from iMac Warn U. I think that took out 3 maxes right here. Might take out another max, this T3 max right here. Though not too sure, as those bricks are currently just instead targeting a bunch of T1 maxes. Not T1 maxes, T1 P-gens. Let's see. Yeah, no, not going after the max. Just taking out a bunch of power, and now there's a bunch of T1, T1, T2 BD built up in the main base of Chad, with a bunch of T1 BD built up right here on this side. A experimental was finished for iMac Warn U. I suspect that was probably a Monkey Lord, as it is the cheapest experimental in the game, and no, it was not. It was a Novax Center. The defense satellite of the UEF, rarely used defensively, already moving up, and well, I expect that that will most likely go after the base of the northern team, or one of the bases. Going by the angle it is currently moving, it seems to be beelining it for Chad's base. The GC for Freddy currently is in the meantime pushing up, retaking a more forward position. And things slowing down a bit. We're still just finished an experimental of their own. A Megalith right here. Also by looks of it, collecting a bunch of Strat Bombers. Not that they have T3 not T3 land, T3 air. They also have T3 land, but T3 land cannot produce bombers, so at least not as far as I'm aware. And it would be very weird if it could. Very weird oversight, if that was the case. Which it's not, as far as I'm aware, unless, well, yeah, no. Unless you do some, maybe with some weird trickery, but I doubt it, honestly. Anyway, Megalith pushing up, and by looks of it, it seems to be going into this flank right here. Into the direct fight against Peppers, who is currently going for a teleport upgrade. So, probably going for the special Cyclone strategy of just upgrading the teleporter and laser to teleport close to the ACU of one of your opponents, or at least a important asset of one of your opponents, and take them out that way. But it is also a very dangerous strategy to go for. Peppers with their own Megalith, also currently moving up to the front. Large army right here on the western side collecting for iMac Warn U. But there's also a sizable counter army out from Belfron, meaning that a push here is not advisable. And currently things slowing down a bit. Right, let's see, what's Novax doing? Looking at the damage done right here, it seems to be going after the P-gens of Chad, which are, well, integral to their air crit. Without P-gens, it's very hard to produce air due to air especially T3 air being a very power-intensive ordeal. And since this this sheet generator right here is also inactive, I suspect that they are currently in a power stall. Yes, they are, and a extremely large one. They are reclaiming the P-gens. That's not accidental, that is intentional, as reclaiming a volatile construct or building like a P-gen means that it won't explode when it dies. At least as long as the reclaim is actually going on the moment it dies. As it basically guarantees the last bit of damage is done by the reclaim order, which just, yeah, it prevents an explosion. And with that, it does mean that you need to micro that a bit more closely to prevent just reclaiming P-gens that aren't actually fired upon. Though, considering the fact that they are only being reclaimed by a bunch of T1 NGs, it's probably not too important, as with that, the reclaim is going very slowly. But Chad actually getting back up on the power production, but that looks like pausing their mass consumption as well. They can't afford the power needed to actually use the mass. And thus currently just wasting most of their economy. Not like they have much of a choice in the matter. Now, Megaliths did fight right here on the eastern side between Muestel and Peppers. Muestel also utilizing those bombers I mentioned earlier, by the looks of it, and ending up taking out the Megalith of Peppers. How's that ACU looking? It has finished and it is currently tallying. That teleport is going right after the ACU of iMac War on you, who has already built up a large number of T1 PD and also a bunch of T2 PD. Now, T1 PD is effective against a tally ACU without the gun range upgrade, but if your opponent does go gun range and laser, it's not that great of a move due to the gun range outranging the T1 PD. So they could just tally somewhere like here, where the PD does not have range and still target the ACU, which is why it's a good idea to always also build a battery of T2 PD to defend against that when you build tally defense. Now, for a second, tally seemed to be going after the Novak centers right here, and there are actually 3 of them now. But Pepper's currently, by the looks of it, not able to make up their mind where they want to go. No, just going for the area with the SMD of Muestel and the general air grid. I don't see any tail defense here, so fair play. Important thing to point out here, we do see a disruptor now being started. And the ACU tally is on, so let's go just switch back the something like 3 kilometers or so to look back at that. And that ACU taking a bunch of fire, however not targeting down the SMD, which I would have expected to be the primary target. Well, okay, it does get one of the pigeons. The SMD does end up going down as well. And okay, yeah, a bunch of damage is actually done, so I guess it was worth it in the end. Airgrid also taking heavy damage. The HQ, however, is still alive, meaning that that can be easily rebuilt. Just the majority of the power production going down, and that is definitely a very painful loss. But mass T1 bombers and a bunch of strats utilized to take that ACU out, and there goes Peppers. The first loss for the northern team. First casualty. Now, where are the 2 additional Novaxes for iMac War you're currently moving? I only see the one up here over the base of Jet. Well, okay, there's also one above the base of Kavanaugh. And one above the base of Belfron. The one above Belfron's base, well, both Belfron and Kavanaugh currently with properly shielded bases, so not too much a threat from singular Novaxes. On the front, however, for iMac War New, we do now see a Fat Boy out. Which, well, it is slowly creeping forward. There's however also a Fat Boy out for Belfron. And we also do see a bunch of combatants, preset Zakus, out for Kavanaugh. Very nice to see those. In my opinion, critically underutilized unit, as those are very, very powerful. If you look at that, you have 16k base HP on the Rambo preset, plus an additional 26k of a shield, and some pretty great range, as well as pretty decent build power, with the capability of building T3. So, well, it's also something like, can also be utilized as a combat engineer. Just a lot more tanky, and, well, with a lot more firepower as well. A great unit. Though, I guess, rather costly due to being a sack. Right, also the shield preset cycles being placed as well. Another thing I like to see, because with 52,000 HP on that shield, I'm pretty sure that that is the shield with the most HP in the game, or at least the shield bubble with the most HP in the game. Since 52,000 is a lot. Now Novax is being utilized on the front, trying to go after the Fat Boy, but we do have a bunch of T2 shields in the area built up, as well as a bunch of para shields, providing additional HP, and of course the shield that the Fat Boy has itself, which is currently however down. But with the Fat Boy fire also supporting the Novax's firing down, all of these shields do collapse, and there goes the Fat Boy for Balthron. While the Fat Boy for I Make Warn You does continue to stay alive. Kabanov, however, now with their own Fat Boy, which currently is not countered by another one. But the Novaxes have retargeted onto that. To have, of course, still a bunch of all of these cycles here, including the shield cycle. But let me just check something. I think I noticed. Yes, I saw that out of the corner of my eye. I didn't pay attention. I didn't say too much about that though, because, well, other stuff to talk about. I Make Warn You also built a nuke launcher in the back, which is now loaded. So let's take a look at the presence of SMD. I do not see any SMD in the base of Chat, nor in the extended base of Chat, where, well, would you look at that, a Scathless is building. Currently not very far along, only 10%. Maybe we will get back to that a bit later. But we have SMD in the main base for Freddy Fresh. We have SMD up for Kabanov, and we have one up for Balthron, who now also has a Novax center, and thus also a Novax attack satellite, which is moving over the army of I Make Warn You, and they'll just take out the Fat Boy.
Strategic launch detected.
Nuke is fired for I Make Warn You, and it seems to be going after the position right here up to the front for Kabanov, with the Fat Boy and all of these Sakus. Yep. And there is no SMD in range here that could defend against that, so that is basically guaranteed to land. And there it goes, taking out the Fat Boy, taking out a bunch of Sakus. Maybe not the most valuable nuke ever, but it definitely did do quite a decent amount of damage. 71k mass cut if we look at the nuke launcher. Now, big push coming out for I Make Warn You in the middle, just with a bunch of bricks and possibles. Never mind, that's not bricks and possibles, that's bricks and loyalists. Never mind, once again, there is also a bunch of possibles. And a bunch of titans. There are 2 GCs in the area for Freddy Fresh, which have done some great damage, but they are just completely overwhelmed by the amount of T3 spam in the area. Even with all of the Harbingers in the area to support as well, there's just too much spam currently out for I Make Warn You, and thus both GCs do go down, and the supporting army of Freddy Fresh also not long for this world. Now, Harbingers going down. There they go. There was a transport by the looks of it that was supposed to carry in some units, but that just also got taken out by the flag in the army as well. Always nice to see a flag utilized in armies, especially when your team does not have air control, as that means that, well, you can still respond to any air threat coming in just by having something on the ground that can fire back. It also means that you're not completely reliant on the air player. Seems like the Disruptor did finish, and yes, there it is, already firing. Taking out a bunch of stuff here. A salvation was started for chat, not for, no, yes, for chat. Was confused with colors for a second. And this is chat. Yeah, they have started a salvation, but, well, with the fire onto the area and all of the Novax is currently retargeted onto the area, I don't expect that to go anywhere. And, well, the first attempt did die. And the engineers now all just paused, so they won't start that either. Wherever the scaffolders was started, that position is also now lost, with a major push coming in from Newstill against the base that once belonged to Peppers. Looks like Kavanaugh, yep, Kavanaugh does have a Billy Nuke upgrade, and is firing that, trying to take out the army of Imek Warnu, and that will cause heavy damage. Or not, as there are still loyalists in the army, which, as already pointed out earlier, provide mobile tactical missile defense, or not only tactical missile defense, but a tactical missile redirect, meaning that the Billy Nuke is now redirected onto the ACU of Kavanaugh, since they were the one who launched that. Or well, redirected onto the position it was fired from. And the ACU for chat does go down to the just to the Novax spam. And looks like the Billy was still shot down. Is there Team D in the area? Well, there has to be. Yes, there's one right here. And never mind, it wasn't shot down, it just took a very, very far turn. And landed on the ACU of Kavanaugh, though they did survive it, probably due to their nano upgrade. The second Billy Nuke was also fired, it also got redirected by the looks of it. Flying back now in a very, very tall, trajectory. That's the term. And going back as well. Again, flying in a very funny angle. And, well, that does land right here where it was fired as well. Not causing too much damage this time, as the last nuke already landed there. But I suspect that Kavanaugh now learned their lesson, and will probably no longer fire that Billy Nuke into this army because, well, loyalists are nasty when it comes to that. Redirecting those tactical nukes. As the Billy Nuke is more of a tactical missile than a normal nuke. More bigger tactical missile. Bunch of strats coming in, trying to take out Kavanaugh by looks. Either Kavanaugh or Freddy Fresh. One of those ACUs at least. But AA in the area was sufficient to just take those bombers out. Meaning that not too much damage is done right there. Do also now see a bigger push starting to form right here between Imek Warnu and Belfron. Or well, a bigger fight. And yeah, Imek Warnu currently pushing out against a bunch of spammed out personals. Not only a bunch, a lot to be fair. 55 at this moment for Belfron. But looks of it also very successful in that push, though, well, I suspect that most of the units will probably die during that. In the meantime, the push up north does continue. It completely just cleared out the base that once belonged to Chat. Now moving on to the base that belongs to Kavanaugh. Taking that out. There are more Novax being built up by Belfron, by the looks of it, or there were more built up while we are looking in the area. So currently the 3 Novaxes here, and right, I think the one of the Novaxes right here for Imek Warnu did actually go down, though they have started building a neighbor. Not sure if the neighbor will finish now. But artillery fire does continue coming down. Now against space of Freddy Fresh. And they are moving back under the shield. base is going down here, but something I just noticed, yep. The Novaxes for Battlefront have retargeted onto the ACU of iMac Warrenew, who only has a gun upgrade and just lost all shielding on that ACU. Meaning that will go down to the Novax file. Turning this into a 1v3 now, after things were looking up for the Southern team, only leaving Murstil to fight this out. Though currently base for Kabanov basically doomed, Murstil just finishes an experimental. I suspect that it is just another Megalith or something like that. Not too sure where it is. Another nuke is launched. Right, yeah, Novaxes respawn at the Novax centers since the satellites don't get gifted over even on full share. Not sure what the experimental was, but whatever. Murstil's ACU now being targeted down by all of the Novaxes, but she is not able to hold up against that. However, if you look into the area up here, there is those Novax centers under big threat now. About to go down, Kabanov also about to die, and there they go. I completely missed that Freddy Fresh apparently also died. Turning this into a 1v1 at the end. Murstil still taking that fire from those Novaxes, but these Novaxes now under big threat from the stuff of Murstil, and by the looks of it, I think the experimental might have been a soul report that I missed. That is now starting to take down the... that was starting to take down the Novax centers at least. But AA shoots that down. However, Megalith's still moving in, and that will probably be what now ends up taking out the Novax centers. Either that or all the strat bombers flying overhead. So only one Novax is left. But Battlefront also built up a Sorapa of their own that is flying in. Air Force for Murstil, by the looks of it, just wiped out by the air in the last engage, or in the last combat. And Murstil no longer under a shield protected ACU either. Not that T2 shields will hold out too long against a Sorapa. And does move in, firing onto that. Battlefront already taking fire on that ACU, but that push is probably not going to last too much longer. Well, never mind, there is this stuff now also moving in. However, now taking fire from the air by the Sorapa. And, well, taking a lot of damage. Some damage was soaked up by those shield generators. But that's Sorapa causing a lot of damage. The ACU already down into the red. And below 2k, below 1k, and there it goes. Very close at the end, but that sneaky Sorapa of Battlefront did end up winning Northern Team the game. Right. So, as I already pointed out earlier, I have my own channel where I do put out casts like these, so if you did enjoy this, I mean, you can of course like the video. It is, well, and does help out the FAF channel as well, and stuff like that. And I guess it also shows that this kind of content is well received. On that note, just, I don't know, if you aren't already, maybe subscribe to the FAF to this channel as well, since, well, there is a lot of FAF stuff coming up, or, well, FAF content coming out on this channel. Especially around tournament times, with the whole tournament coverage from some other casters. So that's generally worth giving a watch, checking that stuff out. But yeah, if you are interested in more content from me, well, I have my own channel, as already pointed out at the start. I don't know, maybe it's going to be linked in the description. I also stream live on Twitch, which, I don't know. I will give that link to that as well, but I'm not sure if that will be linked either. I would suspect it, but not sure. Anyway, yeah, with that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you again maybe in some of my content. But yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed, and yeah, goodbye.